For a long time, Thailand's nightlife was in a league of its own. People came to experience it for the first time, and they ended up coming back again and again. It was a crazy night out. It was affordable, and it felt different from anywhere else. Lately though, more people, especially online, are saying that the nightlife in Thailand is not the same anymore. It just doesn't give off the spark that it used to. The conversations online, in the bars, and in expat circles all sound similar. Fewer people are planning return trips, and more are saying they'll wait and see what happens next. Prices are up, rules feel up in the air, and the overall feeling isn't what it was a few years ago. Let's take a walk around Bangkok and go into some of the reasons why I think people are not going to return in 2026 just for the nightlife that Thailand offers. Nights out cost double what they used to a few years ago, and the fun hasn't doubled with it. A few years back, a night out in Pattaya or Bangkok felt like you were having a great night for a cheap price, something you couldn't get anywhere else. You could go out, have a few drinks, maybe some fun after, and not think too much about the cost. It really was dirt cheap. Even if you spent a bit extra, it still felt worth it. It was the ideal country to go to for a couple of week holiday if your only goal was to go out on the sauce every night. Now, a lot of people are saying that some nights cost nearly double, and it's hard to really justify. Drink prices are the first thing people notice, especially in Bangkok. Add in bar fines, tips, taxes, and after-bar fun, and that total climbs up. You wake up the next day, check what you've spent, and it's probably more than what you would spend back home. The problem isn't just the money though, it's that the experience doesn't feel better to match the higher prices. People feel like they are paying more for the same night, or sometimes an even worse night. And let's just say, the quality of people working in the bars has degraded a little, in my opinion. So when people think about coming back in 2026, they do the numbers. If a night out costs close to what it would in other countries, but doesn't feel any better, then the appeal drops. Thailand's nightlife used to be a big reason to return. Now, for some people, it's becoming a reason to go elsewhere. Lady drinks are much more expensive now. Back in the day, lady drinks were just part of the night. You bought one, had a chat, enjoyed the moment, and it didn't feel like much of a problem. You actually got what you paid for. Now, the price of a single lady drink can make people think twice before they even order one. Instead of feeling relaxed, guys are doing mental numbers every time a bar girl comes over. The prices have crept up quietly, but they've crept up a lot. 2 or 3 drinks in, and you've already spent more than you planned. And when the whole reason you're going out is to drink with the girls, it gets really expensive. You are not just there to enjoy yourself anymore. You are constantly thinking about the cost. You don't want to be seen as a cheap Charlie, but do you buy another one? Do you say no? Do you feel awkward about it? Lady drinks are a part of Thailand's nightlife, and if you want some female company in the bars, then you are going to have to buy some lady drinks. Of course, it's not enough to break the bank, but if you are in Thailand just for the nightlife, then it's going to add up quite fast. Next, the bar fines are going up as well. Bar fines are another thing that quietly changed over time. A few years ago, they were there, but they didn't ask for a stupid amount. You expected what they asked for, you paid it, and you moved on. Now, people are shocked when they hear the number. The problem is how fast they've gone up, and because people keep paying that price, they just keep on rising. One year it's a bit more, the next year it's even higher. There's rarely any clear reason given. It just becomes the new normal overnight. What really bothers people is the prices can change depending on the bar, the area, or even the time of night it is. And you often don't know the real number until you are standing there. It also adds to the feeling that the nightlife is becoming more about squeezing money than having fun. Even in some bars, there is a lady drink minimum requirement until you are allowed to actually bar fine them. Bar fines on their own might be manageable, but with higher drink prices and higher overall costs, they push people away. When everyone acts like it's normal, but it doesn't feel normal anymore, people will just start walking away. Next, too many girls treat customers like walking ATMs from the first minute. A lot of guys say this. The feeling has changed right from the second that they walk into a bar. Where things used to feel a bit more friendly and girls actually put the effort in, now it feels like money is the first thing on the table. From the moment you sit down, there's a feeling of expectation, and it doesn't take long before spending comes up in one way or another. Pushing for drinks, wanting to play games for drinks, or hinting at money problems early on. Instead of easing into the night, guys feel like they are being tested to see how much they are willing to spend. I know the girls are there to make money and they are just doing their job, but it does get a bit annoying with how pushy some of them get when you want to just enjoy the night. People will just lose interest, not because they hate the scene, but because it stops feeling enjoyable. Once you feel like a walking ATM instead of a person, it kind of takes the fun out of the whole Thailand thing. Too many drunk troublemakers and low-quality tourists now. You have probably seen a lot of videos online if you have been thinking about coming to Thailand and have been doing some research, especially in the nightlife areas. There are a lot of videos out there, and although a lot of them go viral and make it look like Thailand is just full of these people, trust me, it's only a handful. Unfortunately, they can turn up anywhere, and there has been a rise in incidents involving Farangs. There are more loud, sloppy, drunk guys causing problems than there used to be. Fighting, shouting, falling over, even arguing with the bar girls. It's become more common than it used to be, that's for sure. Guys who just want a fun night, a few drinks, and some company don't want to be around those types of people who are going to be ruining it for everyone else. Nobody wants to sit next to someone who's already out of control by 9 p.m. I've even seen some Farangs online have said that Thailand is becoming like Benidorm with the way that the nightlife is heading. When clips of drunk tourists or Farangs behaving badly start getting spread online, that becomes the image people have of places like Pattaya, and even Thai people get wary of us, thinking we are all the same, even if it's just a minority. If the nightlife scene starts attracting more trouble than fun, people who came here for the good times quietly move on and skip Thailand altogether. Next is that cheaper countries exist. The whole feeling around Southeast Asia is different in 2026, and people are genuinely ditching Thailand for places like Cambodia and Vietnam. Thailand used to win by far because it was cheaper and easier than most places, and let's face it, it's hard to match what goes on in the nightlife there. But these days, that's no longer always true. There are other countries offering similar nightlife that is cheaper, has fewer rules, and is a lot easier to deal with. Places like Vietnam and the Philippines and other parts of Southeast Asia come up a lot in conversations. Vietnam especially is popular right now. It's a cheaper night out, and the Thai baht got super strong and it's still rising, which basically means your dollars and your euros just don't go as far anymore. People say Vietnam feels like Thailand 20 years ago before it got overrun. It feels more authentic and less like everyone's been designed specifically to get as much money as possible from tourists. Cambodia has also become this sneaky good alternative. In some bars there, the beer costs like $1 during happy hour, which is absolute madness when you compare it to Thailand, where you're paying 6 to 8 times more for the same drink. A typical night out in Phnom Penh or Siem Reap seems to be a lot cheaper than Thailand, and that's with you going pretty hard. The nightlife scene in Cambodia is way more chill and laid back. Yes, Thailand's got bigger clubs and fancier rooftop bars, but Cambodia's got this different, less pushy feeling inside of the bars. For a lot of people, especially those who've been doing the Thailand scene for years, that slower pace is exactly what they are looking for. The big picture here is that Thailand's stopped being the budget paradise for a night out. Vietnam's marketing itself as this fresher, cheaper alternative with similar beauty but lower costs across the board. The beaches might not be quite as developed or polished as Thailand's islands, but honestly, that's part of the appeal. They feel more real and less like a tourist trap. Thailand's tourism industry got greedy, plain and simple. They kept rising the prices while the quality of service stayed the same or got worse. And now they are paying for it, with declining visitor numbers for the first time in a decade. And meanwhile, Vietnam and Cambodia, they are welcoming tourists with better deals and fewer hassles. Rent can be cheaper, the visas are a lot easier, and it sounds like the nightlife is catching up with Thailand. When you compare them side by side, Thailand doesn't always come out on top anymore. It's an easy choice for some. They are not angry at Thailand or dislike the place. They are just going with a newer and better option. Once people find an alternative that works for them, they often don't rush back. Thailand becomes a place they used to love, but that feeling Thailand used to give, it's just not giving it to them anymore. Thailand visas feel less welcoming for long-stay tourists. Before, you could come to Thailand on a visa exemption for 60 days, extend it for another 30 days, then leave and come back to reset it. This was good for people who were legit long-stay tourists, or people who worked offshore for a few months and then spent a few months in Thailand. Not everyone wants a visa, because some tourists would use Thailand as their base and then visit other countries. Once the exemption ran out, they would return to Thailand again after a month or so. But although this affects those people, I do kind of understand why Thailand has done this. There were a lot of people exploiting the visa exemption and working in Thailand without paying tax. Now, Thailand is saying you can only do 2 visa exemptions a year, and only one of them is allowed to be extended for an extra 30 days. So, for long stay guys, visas are now one of the biggest turn-offs. It used to feel like Thailand wanted people to stay, spend money, and settle down for as long as possible. Now, the whole process feels like one big headache. even for people who've been coming for years. The rules are harder to follow and seem to change without much notice. What worked last year might not work this year, and advice online is often outdated, conflicting, or just rumours. And once you actually land at the airport, there's also more scrutiny, more questions, more requirements, more chances to get flagged or even deported. Even if nothing goes wrong, the experience itself feels stressful. Nobody enjoys feeling like they are being tested every few months just to stay somewhere they already spent money in. For guys who are working illegally or causing trouble, that can feel unfair. When visas feel unpredictable, people stop planning long term and start looking at other options. Next, we've got less repeat visitors and more first-timers. People are not really talking about this too much. Thailand's nightlife used to be built on repeat visitors. Guys who came back year after year, knew the areas, knew the people, and helped keep things alive. That group is shrinking, and if you are a repeat visitor, you have probably seen that yourself. Now, you are seeing more one-timers, people who come once, go hard, and then leave. They don't know the unwritten rules, they don't care much about the long-term stay, and they aren't invested in how the place feels tomorrow. I suppose that is a good thing for Thailand though, a new wave of 2-week millionaires coming in week after week, blowing all of their money on what they think is a cheap night because it's cheaper than back home. So, I can't really blame Thailand for wanting these types of tourists as opposed to long-stay expats who are watching what they spend. Repeat visitors, they tend to pace themselves. They spend smarter, behave better, and know when to walk away from a bad situation. One-timers are more likely to overdrink, overspend, and cause issues because they feel like it's now or never. This is another reason that prices go up, is to catch quick money that 2-week millionaires are willing to spend without a second thought. Overcharging and nightlife scams. So, here's the thing about Thailand's nightlife scene in 2026. It's gotten sketchy as hell when it comes to being shady. You walk into what looks like a normal bar in Pattaya or Bangkok, sit down for a few beers, maybe a bit of flirting with the girls, and then the bill comes and you are staring at numbers that don't make any sense. Getting charged for drinks people never ordered has been around for years. It's called bill padding. Lady drinks that somehow multiplied while you weren't looking. One Russian guy recently got into an actual fight over a 6,000 baht bill that included stuff he swears he never asked for. The problem is that this used to be rare. Every now and again, a bar would try and pull a fast one and pad the bill. But now, it's not that rare anymore. It's becoming the norm, and word is getting around fast on social media. The scams have gotten so bad that places like Pattaya are actually hurting their own reputation. Tourists are sharing horror stories online, posting inflated bills on social media, and warning everyone to just go to Vietnam or Cambodia instead, where the pricing is transparent and nobody is trying to rob you. Some bars are literally raising the prices to make up for having fewer customers, which drives even more people away. It's like watching someone shoot themselves in the foot over and over. It is like the bars know the good times are ending, so they're trying to grab as much cash as possible before everyone stops coming. And the tourist police are about as useful as a chocolate fire guard. If you get ripped off or scammed somewhere and report it to them, they will say the best thing to do is pay up and leave it. Do not expect the tourist police or the normal police to help you out unless you have actually been robbed on the street or something. But when it comes to the bars, you've got no chance. Next, we've got the violence and the unsafe nightlife conditions. The violence thing in Thailand's nightlife has gotten really out of hand. It's not just the occasional bar fight anymore. Every week there is a new video going viral. Bouncers are fighting with tourists and then they just disappear into the crowd. I mean, it's 99% of the time the tourists fall, but it still doesn't mean they should be jumped by 10 bouncers while they are on their own. These videos go viral. People freak out for a few days and then it just happens again somewhere else. You could be having a normal disagreement about your bill being too high or refusing to pay for drinks you didn't order, and suddenly you've got 3 or 4 guys surrounding you. If you try to argue or raise your voice, they see it as disrespect and things get physical fast. The problem is, these fights rarely stay one-on-one in Thailand. You might think you are just dealing with one aggressive bouncer, but before you know it, his friends show up and you're getting kicked while you're already on the ground. The robbery situation tied to nightlife has gotten sketchy too. You might think it's just shady Thai people that are out pickpocketing, but even foreigners are robbing other foreigners now. I personally haven't been, but I've heard that full moon parties and beach events are apparently the worst. That's where drink spiking and thefts are most common, targeting both men and women. People are genuinely scared now, saying that Thailand is dangerous. Tourists are posting warnings all over social media, saying to avoid certain areas entirely, to never walk alone at night, and to keep your friends and family updated on your location at all times. Although I have heard about all of these stories and seen the videos, in all my years going to Thailand, I've never experienced trouble like this, or had anything too bad happen to me. So, take what you read and see with a grain of salt. Next, Thailand's nightlife reputation overall keeps getting worse and not better. The nightlife there used to sell itself without even trying. It had a huge reputation for obvious reasons, and even if you have never been before, you probably knew about the place or had heard the stories. Stories were mixed, sure, but the overall image was fun and crazy in a good way, and it made a lot of people want to experience it. Lately though, the reputation going around feels like it's going in the opposite direction. When you look up things now, you see a lot more negative stuff than positive. Fights, scams, angry rants, drunk tourists getting arrested, bars overcharging, people saying that the scene is finished. Even people who have never been start having opinions about the place. They assume the nightlife is unsafe, aggressive, or just dirty. I mean, Thailand has always had a bad reputation to people who are not into that kind of stuff. But once a place gets a bad reputation online overall, it's hard to change that. Now we've got the condos that aren't cheap anymore. This is another quiet change that affects people who stay longer. The main choice for long-term tourists is condos over hotels, and they want to get a place near the nightlife if that is why they are coming to Thailand. This used to be easy to find and was a lot cheaper than hotels. It was another big part of the appeal to come to Thailand, cheap accommodation. Back in the day, you could live close to everything without paying crazy money. Have a good night, then catch a short taxi back home or even walk home. That's not really the case anymore. Rents around the nightlife areas have climbed a lot. Places that used to be considered basic or mid-range are now priced like something special. Even older buildings are asking more just because of location. For people who stay weeks or months, it's a kick in the teeth. What makes it worse is that the quality often hasn't improved. Same rooms, same furniture, same noise issues, it's just a higher price now. Some try to move further out to save money, but that comes with its own problems. Longer walks, more taxes, more hassle getting home late. So, that is just another issue that people have to face. I'd probably say soon hotels will be cheaper than condos. That is if you want to stay near all the action. And nobody knows the rules anymore. This one frustrates a lot of people, from first-timers all the way to long-term expats, because it never feels clear. The rules and the law changes are always up in the air. One week, bars are open late. The next week, they are apparently shutting early. How the night goes all depends on where you are, who's around, and what mood enforcement is in that night. It's very inconsistent with the immigration and the government, and it really messes with people. If the rules were strict but clear, most would understand. Instead, it just feels random. People don't know what's allowed and what isn't. You could be doing things that are not allowed in Thailand without even realizing it. I will end with this. The magic is gone and everyone knows it. There was a time when Thailand nightlife was fun to talk about. Telling your friends all the crazy stuff you got up to on your nights out and them not believing a single word you say because it was just that crazy. Now, many people admit it doesn't feel the same. The feeling that people got when they knew they were going to Thailand has faded. Now, even long-term visitors say that it's changed. More stories start with "it used to be" instead of "you should definitely go." People don't stop coming because they are angry or they hate Thailand. They stop because the reason they fell in love with the place just isn't there anymore. And without that feeling, nightlife becomes just another night out, nothing special. So, in my opinion, the nightlife in Thailand is still good, and I personally do encourage everyone to experience it at least once. But is it the same as it used to be? Not even close. I think the glory days are over, and this year a different Southeast Asian country will take the top spot for the nightlife. But what are your guys' thoughts? I'd love to know if you plan on returning to Thailand for the nightlife this year, or if you have decided to give it a miss and try a different place.